So I guess we can start now. So hello and welcome everybody. Please first let me tell you to please shut off your cameras and microphones since we want to record the session, and also makes it much easier to understand each other. This is what I meant. Would you please shut off your microphone?
That's a really good example, Vera.
Okay. So once again, welcome to the second insight. I hope you can understand me very well. We want to use this insight to give you a little sneak peek on what we work on, what you can expect, and what you will learn at the FIWARE Global Summit that will take place in June 12th and 13th in the beautiful city of Vienna. I'm really looking forward to it already, very thrilled. And so today's topic is data spaces, and for FIWARE and its members, data is a key topic. And as digitalization is in every area of our lives now, this leads to an ever-growing amount of data. Well, valuable data that we want to share, but in a safe environment. And therefore, data spaces automate the shared use of data and allow to attach predefined guidelines to the data transaction and therefore guarantee the sovereignty of the supplier. So data spaces have been an emerging concept which has been implemented already, and many with the participation of FIWARE or FIWARE technology, and this by following European strategy for data. Although data spaces have roots in Europe, we strongly believe that this is the next big thing. And as they are very strong market driven, we believe that they will be adaptable even beyond Europe. So data spaces are out there, and to give you a better understanding, at the summit we have some partners like the IDSA, GaiaX or Deloitte who will show you how they work. But enough from me now. I would like to hand over to my colleague Clara, who knows this topic much better than me. And so Clara, what can you tell us about data spaces? I think you're still on mute. Clara, you're still muted?
Yes, sorry. So can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Vera. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give this overview about data spaces and which is the role and relevance of FIWARE in this field. So okay. So as maybe all of you know, FIWARE is providing technology for creating and developing digital twins of the real world. And for us, data spaces is the natural step in the digitalization of the ecosystems. So we are moving from the smart solutions architectures to systems of systems, and now to data spaces. So here is FIWARE has constructed an overall vision about data spaces. So we published a dedicated paper for that, and relying on the principles that are commonly adopted by creating data spaces in Europe, based on data sovereignty, on creating a ground field for data sharing, having a private-public governance, and a decentralized infrastructure. In our vision, we need to speak the same language. So the participants of the data space need to speak the same language, and that's why we are pushing so much on interoperability mechanisms like APIs and smart data models. On the other hand, we also need to share this data in a trusted manner. So that's why we are creating trusted mechanisms in order to allow this trust in the ecosystem. And finally, we are also proposing publication and marketplace services, and also mechanisms for providing quality, provenance, and traceability of the data. So having in mind this vision of data spaces, our vision is relying on the OpenDI framework of building blocks, and we are providing technology and components for mapping functionality in each of these building blocks. So we are providing the smart data models with more than 1,000 models right now for representing data. We are also providing the NGSI API. We are also providing a trust framework developed in part by the I4Trust project. We are also managing standards like the CAT for metadata. And we are also using specifications like the TM Forum for the marketplaces, and now starting a project for the European Cloud Marketplace. So, due to the relevance of data spaces for FIWARE, a few time ago, we signed an alliance with other initiatives like IAX, IDS, and BDBA in order to sum forces for creating this data spaces ecosystem and paradigm. And we elaborated a technical convergence document in which all the initiatives are putting together all the ingredients from the different initiatives in order to build data spaces. So how these data spaces were born in Europe, because so far it's quite a European concept, and they are framed in the European data strategy, as the European Commission is funding some of these European data spaces in the different sectors, and also dedicated to support center in order to coordinate and to support all these data spaces. But which are these common European data spaces? Well, these are, these 12 common European data spaces, the ones that are currently running, as you can see, in different sectors, in manufacturing, in cities, in Green Deal, skills, energy, tourism. So these are the current ones. And let's then try to define a little bit what is a data space, because we are talking a lot about data spaces, and but probably nobody knows well what it is and what we are referring to. So in the context of this support center, the data space is defined as an infrastructure that enables data transactions between different players in a data ecosystem, and using a governance in order to relate each other. So here is just an example of a data space that could be, for example, mobility or cities, where participants providing data from different sources are sharing this data in a trusted environment, and with a clear governance among all these participants. So the typical roles that we can find in an ecosystem is, well, from the data provider to the data user. We need also a kind of enabler that makes visible the data space. The data space has finally an owner that is somehow coordinating or putting in place the data space. And there exist also intermediaries in order to connect to the data space, and different roles that are still under definition by this support center, and be adopted by the different data spaces. So in the context of this project, the Data Spaces Support Center is trying to support all the creation of these data spaces, allowing that the data spaces may focus on their ecosystems, on their services, on their data, and this support center is providing them all the mechanisms, all the tools, all the building blocks that are required in order to build these data spaces. So what is this support center going to provide? So it's going to provide different elements that we think are essential for building these data spaces, from a conceptual model to define the different terms and concepts that are included in a data space, to a glossary that is already available in this link you have here. So you can see the different terms and different concepts that we use to describe a data space. We can describe data spaces. We will provide some building blocks in order to build technically this data space. Also guidelines for using these building blocks, a kind of radar of data spaces to assess the maturity and the status of each of the data spaces, collection of standards and technologies that can be used in order to develop different components and building blocks, and also the maturity model, a maturity model for your self-assessment of your data space. So the first outcome of the support center is a kind of a starter kit where the data space designer may find some guidelines in order to start defining what the data space is. And here you can see the different elements that are described in this starter kit as a kind of guideline for initiating this path. So you can find this starter kit in the website of this support center, which is listed later on. And what I wanted to say before is that this process of building these elements by this support center is an open process. It's based on open standards, it's based on open processes, and it's based on co-creation all of these elements with the community, with the rest of the data spaces, with anyone who has an expertise in one of the fields of the data space and want to contribute and want to co-create with this community the mechanisms and the tools for creating the data space. So everything is available at the website of the project, and is the way to get in contact with this support center, either for contributing or for getting support. So one of the examples of these data spaces is the one focused on the smart cities and communities, including rural areas and also citizens. And this is called Data Space for Smart and Sustainable Cities and Communities. And data spaces is for us also a natural transition from for cities, because they are moving in the short time from building this kind of system of systems where the city has different verticals integrated into the city platform, to this approach in which the city is able not only to share data internally within the different departments of the city, but also externally with other organizations that are more and more integrated into the city, like logistics companies, buildings of the city, energy companies, mobility providers, and so on. So for us, it's also a natural transition of cities. So then this data space is exactly trying to building a blueprint, a kind of guidelines for anyone, for any city that would like to set up a data space around the city. So the initiative is relying on the Living.eu initiative, and thanks to the community that is around and the existing work that has been already done in this domain, like the minimal interoperable mechanisms, for example, this data space is building a catalog of specifications for creating a data space in this environment, but also a stakeholder forum with cities and city suppliers in order to create community around this data space, and of course defining the roadmap for setting up any of these data spaces in different cities or communities. So all this information of the project is also accessible to this website. So this is all from my side. So I just wanted to give you a hint about what FIWARE is doing in regards to data spaces and the different topics that will be tackled during the FIWARE Summit around this matter. So if you have any question or any comment, just contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Clara. So you gave us a lot of information, and I think we got a very good picture. And we also have someone in this call who can give us a bit insight from the practical point of view. And this is Tuomo Toika. I hope I pronounced the name correctly, from VTT.
Yes.
He's the lead data space solution in data space solution, and he has a very long career in ICT research, and especially with software technologies, having worked in various parts of the world. Pretty impressive, like Copenhagen, Denmark, San Jose, Tokyo, what should I say? And he's been active in the development and complex software systems and artificial intelligence, so even one step ahead. And he has been working in diverse projects on data sharing, and recently took over leading activities in the DSC, the Data Spaces Support Center project. So this is sorry, and this is launched. Well, he just launched the Data Spaces Starter Kit last week in the hack. And yeah, can you give us a bit more insight from your practical point of view?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vera, for this introduction. Yeah, I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's always the most difficult thing, even though many years working on in ICT, that how to make the presentation work in the computer. So thank you very much for the introduction. I hope you can see exactly the right slide. So you said I'm Tuomo Tuika. I work at VTT Technical Research Center of Finland, and well, I will briefly talk about this data spaces support center. One of the assets that was also a little bit opened up by Clara there, and explain that what is the reason for the starter kit for data space designers, and how did we do that, and what is eventually the result. So a little bit this kind of like context behind that document. So that also, as FIWARE is a member, so I think this is very important to see also the FIWARE colleagues here, that what kind of things can be exploited in the community. So let me see if if the slide is actually turning. Yeah, so the motivation here is about that we have come in fact into a pivotal moment for the EU data economy, and there's a lot of things have been happening, and for several years brewing up that the European Union, the Commission, and all the research programs have been like tuned with this moment for us to exploit. And there's absolutely there is urgent need for information on data spaces, not only general information, but what do we mean by data spaces? What kind of elements there are? How do we exploit the data spaces? And what is the future with data spaces? This is what we are experiencing at the moment. Then eventually the idea is that now that we are seeing many piloting environments, experimentation, and the research piloting, and is that at some point of time, even I think that this is already ongoing, some of these like developments come up to commercial solutions, and find their business models, and they eventually become more and more sustainable. And this is where the things go very interesting, is that the data spaces will start scaling. and both in sectors, and here I mean the sectors like the domains, and then also growing in number of users. So here we need a common ground so that we can do the scalability, and this is what also the Data Space Support Center is looking at, about the scalability of the approaches. Obviously, there's also need for references and examples in order to give best practices to the community, and we are also experiencing a lot of things that we need to take into account in order to create the data space. So that means that the data space design should be systematic. It's not exactly similar as if you are used to or have background in information systems design, for example. So when we bring in the data ecosystems and data spaces which are in ecosystems, it's quite a bit different from the traditional information systems design. And then again, to give more dimension is that there are like 5 new regulations that are framing our future of data ecosystems, and this is where we are now living, and this is and also that this is something that where we want to have understanding of that, what is our status and where do we want to go. So the starter kit is practically an entry point to the data space journey that guides you to relevant community resources and DSSC materials. So data space support center materials that we are producing. We started the project like half a year ago, so there's not yet so many materials, but as you saw from the image from Clara, so there are many assets brewing, and something is already released. And one of the notable things that when we started this effort was that there was quite a big demand for this, and therefore we decided that we start with interacting with the community right away, and this having this kind of discussions with colleagues who are also experts in data spaces, that what we are, what do we need, and we had a community release in November 2022. That was the event of European Big Data Value Forum, and then we had a really nice workshop on doing this. And this means that there is this community engagement, and while we are learning, we are also learning together on that, what are the steps towards the data spaces. Then the next step was the public community release, so that everybody in the Europe could be giving feedback on what's inside there, what to include there, incorporate there. So that was the very important history and short history of the starter kit, and then eventually that was coming into the starter kit version 1.0, which was last week released as the first release of this document. And here you can see the target audiences and data space designers, data producers, consumers, providers of data space intermediary services, and providers of data-driven services and business applications. And the objective here is to provide an overview of the different dimensions that enable this interoperability, trust, and value creation within the data space. And the idea is to help readers to understand the role of the DSSC, the project as a scaffolding for the European strategy for data. And it also points a set of resources that can provide further guidance and support. So these are the approaches we are having. And let's see, that I said that the release today, I didn't change because it was not today, but last week it was the release where we saw this slide set. And this was also the content shown earlier. You can see that we are following the business, legal, operational, functionality, and technology framework. This is BLOFT framework, and which takes into consideration all these perspectives. So from the business business perspective, we identify some of these the approaches and models that you can take for like cost sharing, for example, and then we present the business model radar there for the first time here. And then we go to legal aspects of data governance, and we express that what kind of developments we expect, and what we are doing is about data governance matrix and legal compass, and also we are working on a catalog of contracting models. So it's like a tray of things that we are providing for to help in the legal matters. Then operational activities, that's something that I would say that keeps the data spaces running. So that's the operational activities about monitoring and so on. So giving a hunch that what you need to have in order to keep the data space ongoing. Then functionality, maybe this is also already a familiar topic for you. It's about building blocks, and we saw the building blocks, the OpenDA framework there. We are looking at the OpenDA framework, we are exploiting that, and also looking at the governance perspectives at the moment, and how that can be maybe like enhanced in some ways. But and finally, but not least of this matter is of course the technology side. So that's the software, and that's the standards part that we are addressing. Eventually, as I said, that this will be a blueprint from the project that will describe these approaches and give a trajectory or present those resources so that we can design data spaces. And design approaches are always towards active activity of the data spaces. So we need to understand also the design, that how do you do that. So it's not only the resources, but you do design something towards some objective, and then we are planning for design principles and best practices of data spaces when learning from these efforts. And of course, the resource inventories are there, and explaining and giving hints on what they are. So the next steps for the starter kit is that it's also entry point to release the DSSC materials, so you can find them on the list there, and it will be updated within the project heartbeat to include feedback from the community. We do not expect to have covered everything there, and maybe even some things that we need to be adjusted, but then again, trusting on the community here. And I think finally there's also what was mentioned. There's the glossary which has been released, and I would say that here this is very important to see that when building a glossary, that takes quite a lot of time. Our colleagues have been doing quite some time work. It's a group of people who are working on the glossary, and also looking at that they are like all the terminologies is in relationship to the other terminology, so creating a conceptual model at the same time. So we have an asset on conceptual model, but that's also related to the glossary. So it's kind of fine tuning of this relationship of this model and what we are saying as concepts and terminologies. So I would say that please take a look at the material. It's in the dssc.eu. You can find both of these results that we are having, and let's keep in touch in these matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, now you can see me again. Thank you very much. So I think this was very interesting, and as I could hear from you, this isn't just it's a market-driven solution. It's nothing just for the EU, although it's a EU product. I guess this would work even beyond. And we are very happy to show some more at the summit in Vienna. So this is just a sneak peek and to give you an overview what to expect. Thank you very much, Romo.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So we also have one of our Platinum members in the line, and we share a strong partnership with him around strategic initiatives. And this is AWS, which stands short for Amazon Web Services. And today, Amazon Web Services is one of the main actors providing technology and guidance around data spaces and smart cities. And we have Usama Kandachi with us, and he is the solution architect at AWS, and he's responsible for data science and engineering. Hi. And yes, in particular, he works with the French public sector administrations and operators, helping them build smart cities and smart city and data-driven application on the AWS cloud. So can you enlighten us? Can you give us some insights? Yes, we can see.
I to. Can you hear me, Vera?
Yes, I can hear you, but I think the wrong slides are shared.
I'm not sharing anything so far.
So Turka, I think your slides are still shared.
I will try to share now.
At least we can see you twice now. I think you shared the wrong screen.
I'm trying to. Can you see my screen now?
No, I see you double.
Really? Okay.
So under your picture should be something saying microphone, camera, and share.
Yep. That's the first time I use this tool though, so that is why I think I'm unable to share my screen. I think there's an authorization issue. Let me check one thing though.
Should we share it? Do you want to send it to us to share it? Here you are again.
Sharing. There we go.
There we go.
Does it work?
Perfect.
Great. So thank you everyone for being here, and thank you Vera for the introduction. So one of the things that I do within the public sector team at AWS, we work with cities and public sector operators in building data-driven applications in the AWS cloud. So data can obviously, as you all know, can help organizations make informed decisions and to drive new insights, make insightful decisions. And in that sense as well, data sharing has become an important lever when it comes to organizations within the public sector and the private sector to foster innovation, to profit from data sharing as well, to gain an efficiency in operations and making decisions within one or more industries. The issue is that although our customers and cities in general are interested in inter-organizational data sharing, they have been facing three main challenges. So the first one being data silos, where data is trapped within each organization and cannot be shared effectively or monetized, which is the objective of some of our customers and organizations in general. Secondly, the lack of trust, specifically when it comes to controlling how other organizations can access, use, and analyze data that has been shared. And the third thing is that in the past, there was a lack of standards and open standard-based technology to share data across organizations, heterogeneous clouds, interclouds, and with on-premises environments. Focusing especially and specifically on the data silos point, AWS customers have been building data lakes in the cloud to break down data silos within their own organizations. We have heard about different types of architectures like data mesh, for example, to break down silos between individual teams within organizations. And I will touch on the interest of using data spaces, which is the topic of today, as organizations and individual enterprises today, and cities as well, remain somewhat siloed within their own sector or industries. So, in that sense, and data spaces are today a logical next step to breaking down these silos as they enable data sharing within one or more industries or sectors because they enable easy and secure and standard based data sharing while allowing organizations in retaining to retain control over their data and the assets that they share. So some of the main concepts around data spaces describes the mechanisms of centralized or decentralized and secure data exchanges across organizations that come together to pull, access, process, and share data. So what is the role of AWS when it comes to the data space landscape? Well, as you all may know, Amazon Web Services, or AWS, is the very first public cloud infrastructure provider. AWS exists since 2006, and AWS contributes through the cloud infrastructure or as a cloud infrastructure provider in helping customers, cities, and organizations creating, building, and deploying data space applications and connectors in the cloud. AWS also provides prescriptive guidance when it comes to deploying and building applications following AWS security, performance, resilience, and cost best practices. AWS also supplies data services to store data, to analyze data, to build data-driven applications, to visualize data as well. So AWS provides a platform that provides managed services to help organizations build data-driven applications or analyze their data. So what are some of the differentiators when it comes to AWS within the data spaces landscape? So AWS has contributed to some of the data spaces that exist today. One example is Katina X, which is the automotive data space. Uh, AWS also provides managed services which are operated by AWS that provides managed versions of open source products. So customers can easily access open source products which are managed by AWS or deployed on AWS in an easy way. We also enable customers in deploying open source projects and products in the AWS cloud. AWS also provides and has worked with FIWARE in this case on the Smart Territory Framework, which enables customers in building data sharing and smart city applications using FIWARE's technology. So in case you want to work with us to try to build some of the building blocks that respond to some of the principles of data spaces, so we can start mainly with the two columns on the left. So these are some of the functionalities AWS can help you implement within the first steps of a data space implementation or a connector implementation within the cloud. So these building blocks can help you respond to the main principles of a data space, which are mainly FIWARE building blocks that we can help you build within a POC or first implementation that use data models, for example, in order to help you use the best schema for the use case you are trying to build. AWS also helps customers building a standard exchange API that helps basically different participants in a data space speak the same language. Traceability and provenance when it comes to auditing the way data is shared and accessed and used. identity management when it comes to centralized or decentralized identity, as well as verifying credentials with verifiable credentials of different participants within a data space. And of course, access and usage control to enable organizations in controlling and managing the way their data assets are accessed within a data space or used within a data space. As a next step, just to finalize some of the aspects we can do together. So we can help you through a dedicated workshop. So we can help customers and partners through dedicated workshops in order to help them start with AWS in building POCs of potential data sharing projects. We also work with a vast portfolio of partners that can help customers and organizations accelerate towards data sharing use cases and data space applications. We also help organizations in upskilling their teams onto cloud technology with AWS training and certification programs. So that will be it for me. I will leave some resources here at the last slide. You have a QR code towards our data spaces blog post, and I also let my email here at the end of the slide. I will see you at the Global FIWARE Summit, so don't hesitate to come and talk to us to exchange about data spaces, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wow, this was very nice. Thank you. So, and as you might ask yourself, if there are also, you can stop sharing the slides. Thank you. So, and you might have asked yourself if there are also some events on the on data spaces. I can tell you, yes, there are. Let me quickly show you. Oops. Excuse me. And so last week there has been an event in The Hack, and I know someone who went to this very special symposium, and Christina, my colleague from FIWARE. So what's cooking? What's new? Who did you meet? How was the event? Please tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, Vera, thank you so much. So my name is Christina Brandstetter. I'm the CMO and part of the board of officers in FIWARE. And not only me was there, we went actually with almost all the FIWARE board and some other colleagues to this event that Vera is currently sharing. And this is not now to show you things about the past, but it was so extraordinary that we thought it would be really valid to share a few thoughts about it and then also let you know what's next. So the event that you can now see on the screen was the very first one in Europe and maybe even globally, I think we can say, that really brought together all the stakeholders and those who are realizing data spaces already into one place. It was an in-person event, first time in its kind, and gathering, I would say, more than 700 participants, maybe even about 800. We'll get the final numbers just in a few days. And it was so extraordinary because in the 3 days program, we were able to give the high political view in the very beginning up to very, very detailed and technical workshops and use cases for the third day. And in between, we showed not only things that are in the cooker, but even products and topics and services that are already out there or coming out. And we just learned from Tuomo one of the things, like the glossary and the starter kits, that are so important to get things done, to speak the same language, to understand each other. And last week, there were so many professional stakeholders and experts gathered that it was also possible to get really very concrete and understanding what are the issues, how can they be overcome. And I just want to provide you with a few quotes that I thought were really exciting, because there was a long discussion, for example, about data maturity. Yeah, so the question that many organizations are aware they have lots of data available, but the quality of data is often an issue. They just don't know exactly where and which data to use at what time, or have so much data they can simply not use because it's not in the right maturity degree. There were also the topics of interaction between companies, which was considered to be the very, very next step after having worked on the improvement of data maturity. So how can we really make sure, also by the GDPR issues, by the way, how companies can collaborate? And there was also big discussions, of course, about interoperability. So how to make sure that the data spaces that are now getting a technical foundation can then be interoperable between themselves. So we don't want to create new data spaces that are within themselves, again, silos. So different data spaces need to be also able to speak to each other and to collaborate. And to achieve all this, also open source and open data was considered and discussed as the best way to go. And with that, FIWARE plays an important role in Europe and beyond to make such data spaces real, but also sustainable, and bringing business value to those really using it. So especially also with Professor Boris Otto, it was discussed when using open source technology, that we all need to be aware that a community is needed. Yeah, so it's about collaboration. And he said himself, the best case scenario is you don't only use the open source technology, but you also contribute back. And this would speed up things and make them really practical and valuable. And with that, I just wanted to let you know that we are really in the front seat of creating a real next level of how we will use data from now onwards. In FIWARE, we believe this is the really next big generation thing that we are creating here. It's not only important for European market, but we see huge interest from outside Europe in participating to this and applying also certain ideas. And we can't wait to give you the next insights into all this as we are moving really, really quickly then during FIWARE Global Summit. And this is then in June. So a natural next step after this big conference will be the updates we're giving then between the 12th and the 13th of June in Vienna. And we're very happy and thrilled that we will also have Boris Otto with us, one of the maybe loudest and most precise and well-known voices for data spaces in Europe. He's also in the coordinating function of the Data Spaces Support Center, where also FIWARE is strongly involved and leading big parts of bringing things to market. And yeah, you can meet most of the big players that have been in Den Haag, back also then in Vienna, to go into deeper talks and make things happen together with us, and also with the realizing companies that then will bring it really to life. And with that, we will now share also the link where you can sign up to the summit, and hope to see you all there. And I would say, Vera, this should be good enough, because we want to make obviously people nosy and curious, and then have the deep talks all together in Vienna.
Yes, exactly. So thank you very much. Let me quickly just jump into another sneak peek. So today we talked about data spaces, which will be a very interesting topic at the summit. And to just give you a little insight, I show you what kind of contributions we already received. So we're not just going to talk about data spaces. We also have contributions from fields of smart city, smart industry, smart water, smart agriculture, food, and so on. And they don't just come from Europe; they also come from the US, from Japan, India. So it's an event with a lot of topics, very interesting topics, and it's very international. And we're very glad to invite you there. And maybe, Karen, you can guide us very briefly through the website of the seminar to just give further information, like who to contact and where to find what.
Yes, thank you, Vera. Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, let's have a look on like an overview of our summit agenda. We already have published our Global Summit webpage where you will be able to find an overview of the event, how to get your tickets, or how to plan the visit, among others. I invite you to visit it when you can. The format of the agenda has different opportunities for their participants. We divided the presentation into 6 main tracks. First, we will start with business conferences that will talk about our mission and proposition. The first one, positioning and vision. Topics like FIWARE strategy or breaking news, highlights coming from member collaborators will be brought on a stage. Also with topics such as data spaces or robotics delivered by FIWARE community members and innovators, our blog, Disruptive Text Trends, will be the second one to be organized. Also, the next one is academia-funded projects, where there will be showcasing and collaborations in projects based on FIWARE. Then a full day will be dedicated to use cases and references, discussing tangible solutions, best practices, and learning how to replicate them. We have also organized the FIWARE Accelerators Day, very important to let your projects grow. And last but not least, the part of Mingle and Network. We are sure that FIWARE Summit will be an epic place for FIWARE members, partners, and new ways to network in an informal setting. And also, we prepared, I'm going to show you in the website. Here, we prepare different training sessions at Summit, from bootcamp to FIWARE's technical experts certification. Here, you have the dates and the locations and the information. They will take place from Tuesday 13th to Thursday 15th. We will also celebrate our royal fee dinner in the second day of the summit. We are sure that after a full day of innovation, collaboration, and networking, you will also enjoy a royal atmosphere in one of the most exclusive Venice venues. You can also check the tickets in our website. And also, finally, we have designed a plan your visit part with different recommendations on the place to stay, how to reach the venue, a little bit of description of the city of Vienna. So yeah, we all invite you to discover our website. Thank you.
Thank you Thank you very much. I just want to add that you can still grab an early bird ticket, which you can grab until Friday. So hurry. And I have another good news. It's still a possibility to be a sponsor of this event, and I can highly recommend it because so many people will come for networking there, getting information. So it has a very high visibility. And my colleague Rosema, I will quickly show you. Rosema is responsible for sponsorship of the event, and she will give you an information on the package that you can book.
Hi, everyone. Could you share my, thank you, Vera. Could you see my screen at the moment, or are you sharing?
Yes, but no, we don't. It disappeared. Maybe you try again.
Now, is it visible now?
No, it used to be, but now it's not.
Again, sorry.
Now we
Is it
see it.
okay? So hello everyone. We are, as you all know, we are going to Vienna in June for our global summit, and we have for this event we have designed multiple sponsorship opportunities for our partners, where you can book with us our Keystone, Super, or Core sponsorship packages and get the maximum visibility at the event and get maximum networking opportunities. And this is a very simple procedure. You just have to go to the website and you can send us an email or directly send me an email. And these packages have excellent opportunities for all the partners for this innovation leading event. Apart from the main three sponsorship packages, we have also designed mini treats for you, which are the additional sponsorship opportunities, and you can also book these with us. These are, for example, the networking packages for exclusively branded table cards and napkins, and also a very special treat for as a lunch dessert. And you can also bring your logos to the bags and also collaborate with us in our co-branded t-shirts. And last but not the least, as you know, our Walk of Fame is a very innovative exhibition opportunity for our community. And this is a very non-static, more fluid and more dynamic exhibition in the main hall of beautiful Rathaus, Vienna, the main city hall. And we have main exhibition areas in more the walking passages, and or in main stage right on both sides of the main stage and in front of the seating area. These three packages we have designed this time are Mozart, Beethoven, and Haydn, and all have excellent visibility. And it's not a booth-like structure, as you know from the last summit. Also, it's more dynamic and more provides more networking opportunity. So for this also, you can just go to the website and book with us via the website, or you can also send me an email. My email address is right over there. Thank you so much, Vera.
Thank you for sharing this innovation, Rosema. And yeah, well, thank you for joining this session. And I hope you got a first impression on at least one of the topics we're going to cover. And as I showed you before, we will have much more topics that you can really look forward to. A lot of interesting speakers. So check out our website. We already have some up there, and we will keep uploading more speakers and more information. So just stay tuned. And if you have any questions, you will also find our marketing team at the very bottom of the site, and you can contact them directly for any questions you have. So thank you for joining, and I hope to see you all in Vienna. Bye-bye.